What's up, guys? This is Old School Gamer 87 coming to you live. I'm so sorry for the terrible delay. I'm here to talk about the Sega Arcade Classic Roshan Game Space Harrier. Yeah, it took me a while for me to set up everything. I'm so sorry for inconvenience. I was originally gonna stream last night, but it was too late. You know. I know y'all already got the Nintendo Switch 2 already that just came out yesterday. Because I'm trying. Because I don't have the money to get it yet, but hopefully I will soon, along with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And attention all Microsoft Windows users. The Microsoft already reminded us that the security updates for Windows 10 or below are no longer supportive. So try to upgrade and get a new computer that has Windows 11 in it, and we were all forced to do so. The same goes to Apple users. Wherever it's been outdated, you have to get the latest versions of the latest models of computers. Unfortunately, and sometimes the computer parts still doing the buy so trade computer parts. All right. Yeah, I'm playing with the Thrustmaster Flight Stick right here. That's what it looks like. This is for the GameCube. Yeah, they also did the same thing for the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox, OG Xbox. Yeah, it does work for the GameCube. There are other flight sticks such as the Logic 3. It only works for the GameCube, but not for the Wii U, and Nintendo Switch. Switches 1 and 2 for unknown reasons, because I don't know if it's still working or not, because only this one will work on almost everything. And even the slider that I'm trying to use thrust controls. I wish they could have the throttle control, because yeah, after Ace Combat 7 for Nintendo Switch came out, they were supposed to have a flight stick controller, because if they do release it physically, then that could be badass. But unfortunately, they couldn't due to cost reasons. But I hope they do. So please, Thrustmaster Hori, please make a flight stick for Nintendo Switches 1 and 2. Okay, please do so. Yeah, I tried to do it on Air Twister, but it really sucks. It only works on the ZR button on the Switch version, because they also have it on other platforms, including the PC, the Xbox versions, and the PlayStation versions, PS4, PS5, and the Xbox versions, Xbox One, Xbox Series X or S. Yeah, because it really sucks that the Thrustmaster on Flight Stick, they won't let me use the Thrustmaster Flight Stick, because I tried hitting every button available, but it won't let me for no reason. And it really sucks that Air Twister doesn't have the button mapping settings. And I already told the company YSNet, YS. Those are the initials of Yu Suzuki, who did on several Sega video games a long time ago. Because Air Twister inspires Space Harrier, a spiritual successor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the PC version has button mapping, because they need to have button mapping settings. Because I've already filed a report against the company, and they better do it in order to update those missing patches. Oh yeah, I also got Exus, the complete collection, Exus 1 and 2, but yeah, they do have a Wii version of Exus, but also known as Counterforce. Right here. Yeah, Exus. This is Exus for the Nintendo Wii, the original Wii, but they renamed it Counterforce. Yeah, it really sucks. It only works with the Wii remote and nunchuck, but no GameCube controller support. They should have done that, so I could play just like in Star Fox, and so I'll be able to use the Thrustmaster Flight Stick for the GameCube. Come on. Yeah, they also have for the the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC versions. It really sucks that it won't let me use the Thrustmaster Flight Sticks for unknown reasons. So come on, only do that on Metal Hawk, but not that, because I need the Ace Combat 7 Hori Flight Stick in order for it to work. I hope it will work though, because I would love to get those, but that costs hundreds of dollars as of today, even the used ones. Oh yeah. Almost every Thrustmaster flight stick, it does have the locking, because it goes left and right like this. But in order to lock it in place, see that small screw over there? See the black screw over there? That means you gotta turn it, with the flathead screwdriver clockwise in order to lock in place so it doesn't move. See? If you want to use the L and R functions, like twisting the yoke or the flight stick, turn it counterclockwise like this, and you'll be able to move it like that. But I prefer to lock it in place. I hope it doesn't cause any drift issues, cause on the D-pad it does drift to the left by itself it does drift to the left like in seconds or almost up to a minute per move, because I didn't touch anything. Yeah, this is what the box looks like right here. So it has wire damage, because I was originally gonna buy all 4, but up to 3 instead, because I do have the other one that I first bought from an eBay eBay seller in the UK, but he just gave me the one in bad condition. All the buttons seems to working, but it has technical issues which I've yet to fix as I'm trying to clean up, and the white X button I've yet to resolder those, because it was an accident, because I accidentally pull it to on one side and on the other. And the start button and the tactile button switch on the start button and underneath it's loose, but still working, because I had to replace that too. Yeah, I hope everything works fine, because I have up to 4 flight stick controllers for the GameCube. So get this bad boy if you want to play Space Harrier, and hopefully I'll be able to use it on on the upcoming compilation Operation Night Strikers for Nintendo Switch and the PC. And the arcade single Night Striker gear. It's gonna be out this August, around August 7th. And I don't know if they have reverse controls, so I'll be use the control. So I'll be able to move the controls to pretend I'm holding the machine gun on Operation Wolf, Operation Thunderbolt, and Space Gun. But I really criticize, because if they ever had the connector to hook with the pedals, just like they did on the PlayStation and Xbox versions, that I'll be able to mimic the arcade controls. Because that's kind of insane, because if you hit the pedals on Space Gun, that you'll be able to go backwards. But you're going to waste a lot of time now, so use wisely if you want to get... Otherwise, you won't be able to get time bonuses while you're trying to save the hostages and looking for some other items, ammunition, power-ups, whatever. And almost the same thing for what they did on Revolution X, the one Aerosmith. Yeah, those are real Aerosmith concert group. Alright. Yeah, it really sucks on Beastbusters for SNK for Anniversary Collection. They don't have the inverse controls. I go to button mapping settings, but they don't have it, so I'll be able to depict by holding the machine gun like this though. But although it does work, but it's kind of challenging for moving the flight stick upward while going down, because you move the cursor up. Come on. I've already reported to SNK to update those missing patches for the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and the PC versions. I don't know if they have inverse controls or not, so I'll be able to use with the flight stick, because they should have had Leica controls, or on the Nintendo Switch version, the jar controls before they do that on Operation Night Strikers. Alright. I'm going to tell you what Space Harrier looks like before I boot up here. Sorry, forgot this. My apologies. Alright. Space Harrier is a third-person arcade rail shooting game developed by Sega and released in 1985. It was originally conceived as a realistic military-themed game played in the third-person perspective and featured a player-controlled fighter jet. But technical merit restrictions resulted in Sega developer Yu Suzuki, for what I just mentioned earlier, redesigning it around a jet-propelled human character in a fantasy setting. The arcade game is controlled by an analog flight stick, while the deluxe arcade cabinet is a cockpit-style linear actuator motion simulator cabinet that pitches and rolls during gameplay, for which it is referred as a Taiken, or by Sensation arcade game in Japan. It was a commercial success in arcades, becoming one of Japan's top 2 highest grossing upright cockpit arcade games of 1986, along with Sega's Hang-On. Critically praised for its innovative graphics, gameplay, and motion cabinet, Space Harrier is often ranked among Suzuki's best works. It has made several crossover appearances in other Sega titles, and inspired a number of clones and imitators, while Capcom Platinum Games director Hideki Kamiya cited it as an inspiration for him entering the video game industry. Space Harrier has been ported to over 20 different home computer and gaming platforms either by Sega or outside developers such as Nampa in Japan and Elite Systems in North America and Europe. 2 home system sequels followed in Space Harrier 3D for the Sega Master System and Space Harrier 2 for the Sega Genesis, both released in 1988, and the arcade spin-off Planet Harriers, which never received a home port that they were originally going to do on the Dreamcast and the GameCube, but it never happened. They should have done that so I'll be able to play with this. That'd be cool if they ever released Planet Harriers for the GameCube. So please, Sega, re-release Planet Harriers on today's console so I'll be able to play with the flight sticks. Come on, Sega. Just do it. Excuse me. A polygon-based remake of the original game was released by Sega for the PlayStation 2 as part of their Sega Ages series in 2003. Although originally released in Japan, but it does release on Sega Classics Collection for the PS2 as well. It was part of the compilation, and hopefully I will play with the flight stick, and they do it reverse controls. Okay. Zoom this in. Come on. Better. Alright. Space Harrier is a fast-paced rail shooter game played in a third-person perspective behind the protagonist. Set in a surreal world composed of brightly colored landscapes adorned with checkerboard-style grounds and stationary objects such as trees or stone pillars. At the start of the gameplay, players are greeted with a voice sample speaking, "Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready." In addition to "You're doing great" with the successful completion of a stage. The title player character, simply named Harrier, navigates a curious series of 18 distinct stages, while utilizing an underarm jet-propelled laser cannon that enables Harrier to simultaneously fly and shoot. The objective is simply to destroy all that enables Harrier to the objective is simply to destroy all enemies, who range from prehistoric animals and Chinese dragons to flying robots, airborne geometric objects, and alien pods, all while remaining in constant motion in order to dodge projectiles and immovable ground obstacles. Fitted the game excuse me. Fitted the game's 18 stages contain a boss at the end that must be killed in order to progress to the next level. The final stage is a rush of 7 past bosses encountered up to that point that appear individually and are identified by name at the bottom of the screen. The 2 other levels are bonus stages that contain no enemies and where Harrier mounts an invincible cat-like dragon named Uriah. Uriah. Whom the player maneuvers to smash through landscape obstacles and collect bonus points. After all lives are lost, players have the option of continuing gameplay with the insertion of an extra coin. As Space Harrier has no storyline, after the completion of all stages, the only DN is displayed before the game returns to the title screen and track mode, regardless of how many of the player's extra lives remain. The market research for what Yu Suzuki said in his 2010 interview. or 2010. The market research development told me not to make the game. I asked them why 3D shooters didn't succeed, and they told me it was because the target is too small. Based on that, my conclusion was that I basically had to make sure the player could hit the target, so I make a homing system that guaranteed the target could be hit. When the target was close, it would always hit, but when the target was in the distance, the player would miss. So the result of where the player would hit the target or not was determined the second player took the shot. The game was first conceived by a Sega designer named Ida, who wrote a 100-page document proposing the idea of a three-dimensional shooter that contained the word Harrier in the title. The game would feature a player-controlled fighter jet that shot missiles into realistic photographs, a concept that was soon rejected due to the extensive work required to project the aircraft realistically from various angles as it moved around the screen, coupled with arcade machines' memory limitations. Sega developer Yu Suzuki therefore simplified the title character to a human, which required less memory and realism to depict on screen. He then rewrote the entire original proposal, changing the style of a game to a science fiction setting while keeping only the Harrier name. His inspirations for the game's new design were the 1984 film The Never Ending Story, the 1982 anime series Space Cobra, which I never heard the manga series, and the work of artist Roger Dean. Certain enemies were modeled on characters from the anime series Gundam or the first original Mobile Suit Gundam series. Suzuki included a nod to the original design in the finished product with an anime character called Ida, a large moai-like flowing stone head. Because the designer had a really big head, 3 different arcade cabinets were produced: an upright cabinet, a sit-out version with a fixed seat, and its best-known incarnation, a deluxe cockpit-style rolling cabinet that was mounted on a motorized base and moved depending on the direction in which players pushed the joystick, which I'm about to show you that in a moment. Sega was hesitant to have the cabinets built due to high construction costs. Suzuki, who had proposed the cabinet designs, offered his salary as compensation if the game failed, but it would instead become a major hit in the arcades. Suzuki had little involvement with the game after its initial release. The Master System port was developed by Matsuhiro Fuji and Yuji Naka, and they added a fire boss and an ending sequence which were included in subsequent ports. The game, excuse me. The game was too successful for Sega to abandon the series, and other Sega staff, such as Naoto Oshima, character designer for Sonic the Hedgehog, Kotaro Hayashida, player of Alex Kidd in Miracle World, and Toshihiro Nagoshi, director of Super Monkey Ball, have had involvement in various sequels. In a 2015 interview, Suzuki said that it would have liked to create a new Space Harrier by himself and was pleased to see it port to Nintendo 3DS, which I still have the Nintendo 3DS version in 3D. Space Harrier was one of the first arcade releases to use 16-bit graphics and scaled sprites, superscalar technology that allowed pseudo 3D sprite scaling at high frame rates, with the ability to display 32,000 colors on screen. Ran on the Sega Space Harrier arcade system board, previously used in Suzuki's 1985 arcade debut, Hang On. It's a motorcycle racing game. Pseudo 3D sprite title scaling is used for the stage backgrounds while the character graphics are sprite-based. Suzuki explained in 2010 that his designs were always 3D from the beginning. All the calculations in the system were 3D. Even from Hang On, I calculate the position, scale, and zoom rate in 3D and converted it backwards to 2D. So I'm always thinking in 3D. The game soundtrack is by Hiroshi Kawaguchi, who composed tracks on a Yamaha DX7 synthesizer and wrote out the final versions as sheet music, as he had no access to a real music sequencer at the time. A Zilog Z80 CPU powering both a Yamaha YM2203 synthesis chip and Sega's PCM unit, PCM stands for post-code modulation, mechanism that was used for audio and digitized voice samples. Space Harrier utilized an analog flight stick as its controller that allowed on-screen movement in all directions while the velocity of the character's flight is unchangeable. The degree of push and acceleration varies depending on how far the stick is moved in a certain direction. Two separate fire buttons are mounted on the joystick, a trigger, and on the control pad. Either one can be pressed repeatedly in order to shoot at enemies, either from the trigger or the buttons in front of the at the console. Excuse me. The Deluxe Arcade Cabinet is a cockpit-style motion simulator cabinet that pitches and rolls during play, for which is referred to as a taiken, or by sensation, and that was translated from Japanese. Arcade game in Japan. It is often mistakenly referred to as a hydraulic cabinet, as a pair of motorized linear actuators in the base tilted the cabinet in two axes, just like that for what I'm trying to move. Okay, come on. Sorry, I'm trying to clean this up so I can see clearly. My apologies. Okay. Space Harrier has been ported to numerous home computer systems and gaming consoles, with most early transitions unable to reproduce the original's advanced visual audio capabilities, while the controls were switched from analog to digital. The first port was released in 1986 for the Master System Mark III in Japan, developed by Sega AM R&D 4. The first 2 megabit cartridge produced for the console, the game was given a plot in which Harry saves the land of the dragons rather than the fantasy zone from destruction, with a new ending sequence in contrast to the arcade version simple The End message. All 18 stages were present, but the backdrops therein were omitted, leaving a monochromatic horizon and the checkerboard floors. An exclusive final boss was included in a powerful twin-body fire dragon named Hori, who was named after then Sega president Hayao Nakayama, which I'm about to show you that after I boot up. Hori has also been included as a boss in the Game Gear version. In the Game Gear version, Sharp X68000 and Nintendo 3DS versions of the game. The 1991 Game Gear port is based on its Master System counterpart, but with redesigned enemies and only 12 stages. With Rutobo Games produced a new duplicate of the arcade version in 1994 and for the 32X item for Sega Genesis. Both games feature box art by Mark Erickson. Other releases were developed for non-Sega gaming systems such as the TurboGrafx 16 and the Famicom or NES, while Europe and North America saw 8-bit home computer ports by Elite Systems for the ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC and Commodore 64 in 1986, and later in 1989 for the 16-bit Amiga and Atari ST. The Commodore 64 received 2 conversions, one originally in the UK and the other from the US of A. AM2, in collaboration with Sega CS3, ported Space Harrier to the handheld Nintendo 3DS console in 2013, complete with stereoscopic 3D and widescreen graphics, a process that took 18 months. Sega CS3 producer Yosuke Okunari described the game's 3D conversion process as almost impossible. When you take a character sprite that was originally in 2D and bring it into a 3D viewport, you have to build the graphic from scratch. During development, M2 President Naoko Hori sought opinions from staff members regarding the gameplay of the arcade original. They said it was hard to tell whether objects were right in front of their character or not. Once we had the game in 3D, the same people came back and said, okay, now I get it, I can play it now. The port included a feature that allowed players to use the 3DS's gyroscope to simulate the experience of the original motorized cabinet by way of a tilting screen. Compounded by the optional activation of the sounds of button clicks and the cabinet's movement. Hori recalled in a 2015 interview that he was intrigued by the possibility of crafting Space Harrier and past Sega arcade games for 3DS using stereoscopic technology. But Sega M2 wanted to see what would happen if we add a little bit of spice to these to these titles. In the form of modern gaming technology will enhance the entertainment factor. I think the reception that the releases have had from critics highlights that these games are as relevant today as ever, and that means we've succeeded. The excuse me. The game was commercially successful upon its initial arcade release. Sega unveiled Space Harrier at the 1985 Amusement Machine Show in Japan, where it was the most popular game. In January 1986, Game Machine listed Space Harrier as being the top-grossing title on the monthly upright cockpit arcade cabinet charts in Japan. It remained at the top of the upright cockpit arcade charts for much of 1986 through February, March, and early April, and then returned to the top in May. Remained at the top through June, July, and August, and then topping the charts again in October. Overall, the Space Harrier rolling type arcade cabinet was Japan's second highest grossing upright cockpit arcade cabinet through the first half of 1986, below only Hang-On, and the overall highest grossing upright cockpit arcade game during the latter half of 1986. It was later Japan's seventh highest upright cockpit arcade game of 1987. The arcade game was positively received by critics upon release. Reviewing the game at the 1986 Amusement Trade Exhibition International in London, Claire Edgley of Computer and Video Games hailed it as a crowd stopper due to its realistic moving cockpit, graphical capabilities, and amazing technicolor landscapes, but caution, unless you are an expert, you will find it very difficult. Microarts and Computer Game Magazine praised the extremely good graphics, the quite good 3D effects, and the cockpit simulator cabinet. The July 1986 issue of Japanese magazine, Gamist, ranked Space Harrier at number 1 on its list of best Sega arcade games. Excuse me. The game was also positively received upon its home releases. The home computer conversion of Space Harrier was in the top 5 of the UK sales chart in December 1986. And was tied as runner-up with the Commodore 64 title Uridium for Game of the Year honors at the 1986 Golden Joystick Awards. I never heard Uridium. That's what Commodore 64. They do have an NES version of the game. Ed Samrat of the Milwaukee Journal, excuse me. Ed Samrat of the Milwaukee Journal gave this Master System port a 9 out of 10 rating. The Computer Gaming World deemed it the best arcade shoot-'em-up of the year, as exciting a game as this reviewer has ever played. Phil Kemper of the Sydney Morning Herald praised the 1999 Amiga conversion as absorbing and a faithful copy of the original. Computer and Video Games called the port an entirely unpretentious computer game full of weird and wacky nasties. Paul Melrick of Sega Force wrote that the GameCube version was amazingly close to the original. The scrolling speed, the speediest and smoothest ever seen. GamePro commented that the 32X version had straightforward controls, graphics relatively close to the arcade version, and was a nice trip down memory lane. While Next Generation dubbed it as decent and solid. Solid game. All Game called the game a must-have title for 32X system, which I've yet to get the 32X version. LucasArts IGN rated the 2008 Wii version port at 4.5 score out of 10, citing its poor visual and poor control and dull color palette. Jeff Gertzman of Giantbot, in his review of Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, criticized Space Harrier emulation's numerous audio issues that make it sound completely different from the way of the original game sounds. Bob Mackey of US Gamer was critical to the Nintendo 3DS port. Yeah, I do. I do have the Wii version. You can also hook this. This flight stick onto the onto Nintendo Wii Virtual Console version, because it has GameCube ports. But if you get the Wii Mini, you won't be able to get the game. Yeah, the Wii Mini doesn't have the GameCube ports, so it's better to get the original Wii console, either white or black, with the GameCube ports, not the Wii Mini. The Wii Mini lacks the GameCube ports. They strip out the Wii Mini strip off the GameCube ports and GameCube memory card ports. Yeah, the GameCube and GameCube memory card ports, they strip it off. The game continues to garner praise for its audio, visual, and gameplay features. Game Set Watches Trevor Wilson remarked in 2006, "It's easy to see why the game is so well loved to this day with its blinding speed and classic tunes." In 2008, Retro Gamer Edition Darren Jones described the game as difficult, but a thing of beauty that even today possesses a striking elegance that urges you to return to it for just one more go. Excuse me. That same year, IGN's Levi became opinioned, "Even today, Space Harrier is a sight to behold, a heli-zap pop-in explosion of light, color, and imagination." Eric Twice of Sackbar Games noted in 2013, "It's easy to just see it as just a game in which you press the button and things die. But Suzuki is a very conscious designer. He has a very specific vision behind each of his games, and nothing in them is ever left to chance." In a 2013 Eurogamer retrospective on the series, Rich Stan observed, "The speed at which Space Harrier moves has rarely been matched. It's not an easy thing to design a game around. Many other games have fast parts or certain mechanics tied to speed, and it's interesting to note how many take control away at this point. Every time I play Space Harrier, the speed blows away one more time. It is a monster." Eric Francisco of Inverse described the game's visuals 2015 imagine an acid trip through an 80s anime, a Robert Jordan novel, and early Silicon Valley binge coding sessions. Games Radar ranked the arcade originals bonus stage among the 25 best bonus levels of all time in 2014, likening it to players piloting the never-ending story's dragon character Falcor. Kotaku named the Space Harrier tribute stage from Bayonetta in their 2013 selection of the trippiest video game awards. Also in 2013, Hanuman Welch of Complex included Space Harrier among the 10 Sega games he felt warranted a modern reboot, citing its kinetic pace that would be welcome on today's systems. Yep. So it's other games similar to that. Space Harrier spawned 2 home system sequels in 1988. The Master System exclusive Space Harrier 3D utilizes Sega's Sega Scope 3D glasses, which I've yet to get, and featured the same gameplay and visuals as the port of the original game, while containing new stage, enemy, and boss designs. Space Harrier 2 was one of the 6 titles for the Japanese debut of the Mega Drive, Sega Genesis, also Sega Genesis in North America, and released as such in the United States in August 1989. In December 2000, 15 years after the original game's debut, Sega released the loose arcade sequel, Planet Harriers, which again continued the gameplay style of the franchise but featured 4 new selectable characters, each possessing distinct weapons, in addition to 5 fully realized stages and a new option of purchasing weapon power-ups. However, Planet Harriers had only a minimal presence in the US due to its faltering arcade setting, and it was never given a home release, what they originally intended to do for the GameCube or the Dreamcast. I will play with the flight stick, so I could play with this bad boy. In 2003, a remake of the original Space Harrier was developed by Tamsa as part of the Japanese Sega Ages Classic Game Series Sega Classics Collection North America and Europe for the PS2. The graphics are composed of polygons instead of sprites, while several characters are redesigned, and a selectable option allows players to switch to a fractal mode that replaces the traditional checkerboard floors, with texture map playfields, and includes 2 new underground stages. Power-ups such as bombs and lock-on target flight toward are caught by the player during gameplay. The original Space Harrier was packaged with 3 of Yu Suzuki's other works: Afterburner, Outrun, and Super Hang-On for the 2003 Game Boy Advance release Sega Arcade Gallery, which I've yet to get that game. I've yet to get the Sega compilation game for the Game Boy Advance. The Space Harrier Complete Collection, Sega Ages 2500 Series Volume 20 Space Harrier 2 in Japan. Excuse me. Developed by AM2 for the PS2, filed on October 27, 2005 to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the franchise, and was composed of all the official series releases to go with the various generations of our customers, according to Yosuke Okunari. Bonus content included a record and replay feature and arcade promotional material gallery. In addition to images of Hiroshi's Kawaguchi sheet music and notes for the original game's soundtrack, the 1991 GameCube port is hidden therein as an Easter egg. Space Harrier was released for Nintendo Switch as part of the Sega Ages Live, which I'm using right now. Space Harrier has shared an unofficial connection with another Sega shooter franchise, Fantasy Zone, which debuted in Japanese arcades in March 1986. Both series are believed to be set in the same universe. Space Harrier's opening line of dialogue at the start gameplay, "Welcome to the Fantasy Zone," has been cited as a reason, but this was dispelled by Fantasy Zone director Yoji Ishii in a 2014 interview. A 1989 port of Fantasy Zone for the Japan exclusive Sharp X68000 contains a hidden stage called Dragonland that features Space Harrier enemy characters and is accessible only by following a specific set of instructions. In 1991, NEC Avenue developed Space Fantasy Zone for the CD-ROM, featuring Fantasy Zone's main character Opa Opa, navigating 9 levels of combined gameplay elements and enemies from both franchises. Despite December 1991 preview in Electronic Gaming Monthly and advertising designed by artist Satoshi Urushihara, Space Fantasy Zone was never released due to a legal dispute with Sega over NEC's unauthorized use of the Fantasy Zone property. Oh, that sucks. However, bootleg copies were produced after a playable beta version of the game was released on the internet. Opa Opa is included in Planet Harriers as a hidden character with 1 of 3 available endings in 2007 PS2 release. Fantasy Zone 2 DX has Harrier and Uriah attempting to eliminate a turn-evil Opa Opa bent on destroying the game's eponymous Fantasy Zone. The arcade version of Space Harrier is included in the 1999 Dreamcast action-adventure title Shenmue as a minigame, and as a full port in the 2001 sequel Shenmue 2, Sega Superstar Says, and 20 action-adventure game Bayonetta features Space Harrier-inspired minigames. The titles are available as an unlockable game in Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection 2009 for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, though with sound emulation differences. In the 2012 title Sega All-Stars Racing Transfer, a remix version of Space Harrier main theme plays during the Race of Ages stage, in which a holographic statue of Harrier and a flying dragon appear in the background. In addition, Shenmue character Ryu Hazuki pilots a flying Space Harrier sit-down arcade cabinet during airborne levels. Sega included an emulation of the original title as a minigame. Several titles of their Yakuza series. Such as the 2015 release Yakuza 0 and the 2018 releases Yakuza 6. Number 6. The Song of Life, Fist of North Star, Lost Paradise, and Judgment. The success of Space Harrier resulted in the development of other first third-person rail shooters that attempted to emulate its three-dimensional scaling visuals and gameplay capabilities, causing it to be labeled Space Harrier clones. One of the most notable examples was the 1987 Square title The 3D Battles of World Runner for the Famicom and Nintendo Entertainment System, which was followed by Pokemon's 1987 Famicom release Attack Animal Gakuen, and other Japan exclusive games such as Namco's Burning Force, Asmic's Cosmic Epsilon, and Wolf Team's Jumu Densho, all released in 1989 according to All Game. Nintendo's Star Fox 1993 was influenced by early first-person 3D shooters such as Space Harrier. According to the One magazine in 1991, Sega arguably pioneered the deluxe ground right cabinet come video game with classics such as Space Harrier. Sega went out to produce bigger and better motion simulator cabinets for arcade flight games such as Afterburner and the R360 cabinet for G-Lock Air Battle, which I still have for the Switch as of today. But no throttle control. Yeah, because I've yet to get the converter for the intelligent control cyber stick reissue so I can hook onto Nintendo Switch to play flight games. Hideki Kamiya, the director of Platinum Games and creator of the Devil May Cry series, cites Space Harrier as an inspiration for his entering the video game industry in a 2014 interview. There were so many transcending definitive games that came out in the 1980s like Gradius and Space Harrier. All these game creators were trying to make original, really creative games that had never existed before. Game composer Yuzo Koshiro was a fan of the game series. He said Space Harrier was the first time he heard FM synthesis music, and the game inspired him to become a video game music composer. He considered Space Harrier composer Hiroshi Kawaguchi to be one of Sega's best ever composers. Yep, the first game Space Harrier was released for the arcades, Sega Master System, Sega Game Gear, Sega 32X, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, and various other non-Sega home systems, including the NES. But Japan only. That's the Famicom. Space Harrier 3D for the Sega Master System. Space Harrier 2 for Sega Genesis. Wii Virtual Console, which I still have, but it really sucks. It won't let me play the flight stick because I have to play with the D-pad, which is so stupid. Because I wish they had button settings, but they don't. And that really sucks big time. However, I do have Space Harrier 2 for the Sega Genesis B2, so I can play with the Cyber Stick. Play Harris released in the year 2000, arcade version only. Then the Sega Ages Edition 2003, released with PS2, and the Sega Ages 2400 Volume 20 Space Harrier Complete Collection, released 2005 for the PS2, and 3D Space Harrier for the Nintendo 3DS. Oh yeah, I do have Blaster, the 1983 arcade game with similar gameplay. That was released by Williams Electronics A3, and I can play the flight stick though, including the GameCube version with the GameCube flight stick that I had. Alright. I hope it doesn't drift by itself. And I'm so sorry because it does drift. But I hope it doesn't get drift though. Okay. I got to unlock this just in case I use the L and R buttons. Yeah, the L bar buttons on the bottom along with the C stick buttons. Alright, let's go with the game here. Bring up the game. Oh yeah. The Nintendo 600 does have the Joy-Con motion control support, but just do like this. That's kind of frustrating. It's hard to control. There you have it. Oh yeah, Space Harrier does have stage select though, because oh yeah, That's the original mode. I had free tier, that means free play, so I don't have to worry about it. And that's this is the Commando barrier attack. Two Commando can join Commando join here and create barrier around here. Two Commando join barrier and create a barrier around here. This barrier can destroy any type, but it can't protect against enemy fire, so be careful. If Commando take damage, they will get stunned and the barrier will temporarily disappear. Alright, get ready to take flight along with Commando. Yeah, the menu's in there, so I could go online. I'm not sure if it's still there before. It's been taken off the web. Here, X button. Okay. Set the difficulty wherever you want. Number of lives, I set up to 5 lives, and the extension points up to 5 million or 7 million points. That's the travel time. Higher mode. If you turn higher O mode on, then your continues will be remain down to 3 instead of free play if you go to ritual mode, but not the Commando barrier attack. Oh yeah, on the Commando barrier attack, the higher O boss was included. Before I turn that off. In the actual arcade version, they don't have the higher O. Okay, R button. Okay. I just set to rapid fire on both buttons. Yeah, shot means you have to pull the trigger. You gotta pull the trigger a mirror like this, or the button. So I choose rapid fire instead. X button's the start button, so I can insert credits, insert coins. Oh man, now I got drifted again. I thought I cleaned everything up, but it doesn't though. I'm gonna try to reset by hitting that Y, X, and start buttons, because I have no idea what's going on. Cause yeah. All right, the event settings. All right, here's moving area. I choose this one instead, which is the original. Oh man, it got drifted again. Here, let me try to reset it. Okay, yeah, I've been having issues because I hate when the A and B buttons being controlled by itself unless I reset it. I try to clean it up, but I have no idea. Oh yeah, joystick mode. Please connect only one Joy-Con. Yeah, I guess something's wrong with the left D-pad because I have no idea what the hell's going on. Okay, I gotta go to event settings. Alright, display mode, that's full. I hit the white button. This is what it looks like. Here, I'll show you something. This is the arcade version. One with the scanline smoothing. That's the widescreen. That's vintage. Just widescreen. That's full screen. I don't need the scan lines. You can put screen like that. That's the widescreen mode arcade. That's it. It does have motion control if you try to move the deluxe arcade cab. These are the wallpapers. I don't need any of that. Yeah, you can turn it off or smooth. Oh crap. Guess something's wrong with the D-pad, I guess. I'm not sure. That's vintage. It's full screen. Yeah. I don't need smoothing. I was just gonna turn it off. There we go. Oops. Here. More advanced settings. Oop. There we go. This thing's my volume. Okay. Oop. Ah! I hate when it drifts by itself. Okay. Here. I need to reset. Yeah, I tried cleaning it. Everything looks good except it keeps drifting by itself. My apologies, because otherwise I had to replace the tactile switches, or I'm trying to get another controller, so I don't want to show those drifts. Okay. Okay. Here, let me try to reset it. Okay. I'm gonna try to turn off the console and then turn it back on. Hold on. It'll be a second, right? Hope it stopped moving. Alright. Gotta lock this in. Lock this in place, so the left and right motions doesn't move, so everything's good. All right, welcome to Fantasy Zone. Get ready. I just turned stage select off. Oh yeah, while you play higher O mode where only 3 credits, only 3 credits, you just go to stage select to see where you're at. So I decided to put free continue free play 6. Alright, here we go. Oh crap. I'm getting sick and tired of this. Alright, here we go. See what I'm doing, the flight stick in action.
Welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Get ready.
Yeah. Yep, that's my high score. I have made a high score at 28,145,950 points. That's my top score. Yeah, in the original arcade version, you just pull the trigger or hit the buttons. You just mash up the trigger and the buttons. But in the home console versions, you can set to rapid fire. Right, here we go.
Welcome to the Fantasy Zone.
Get ready. Stage 1 boots. There we go. Doing great. Stage 2, Giza. Careful not to hit those obstacles. Don't get hit too much of those trees. Just like what the hell happened when I played Top Gun, the second mission for the NES. Got a bunch of those damn trees in the second stage. Yeah, it really scared the hell out of me a long time ago. And I was unaware that the Top Gun Ages is based on the 1986 motion picture on Tom Cruise. And I also see a sequel, Top Gun Maverick. And right now, Top Gun Maverick does have an arcade game.
Get ready. You're doing great.
Stage 3 at Mar.
Get ready.
Yeah, the Wii version does have different rapid fire rates. If you go to settings. Oh yeah, and it's on the Switch version. You hit the X button to insert coins, and then hit Start button or stage versus sale. But on the Wii version, you hit the C. You use the C stick to insert coins. If playing with the GameCube controller or the flight stick. On the Wii remote or the classic controller, something else. Yeah, sometimes you gotta ceasefire so you can see. If you don't ceasefire, I won't have time to react. By going to those weird polygon obstacles.
Get ready. You're doing great.
Bonus stage with Uriah. Got destroy those trees. Plants are surrounding the way. Destroy them all. There you go. Times 50,000 a point.
You're doing great.
Stage 6 Elysis. Yeah, I guess someone's found the D-pad on top of the on top.
Get ready.
It was kind of in like new condition for a while. When I bought these flight sticks from those Dutch game store owners in the Netherlands, game shop. There we go.
You're doing great.
Stage 7, the Cassia. Those are those one-eyed mammoths. Remember, don't get cocky. I'm gonna have more work on Sunday after it's been picked up. I don't like spending so much money after I went to the Las Vegas Expo. Because everything went high because of the Trump tariffs, which I really don't care about Trump. Right now, I want to talk about much, but that's the whole point about what the hell happened because of those ongoing tariffs. There we go.
You're doing great.
Stage 8, Ida. Ugh. So close.
Get ready. Get ready.
Yeah, wherever they're in close range, I shoot all three of them at once. Ugh.
Get ready. Get ready.
Ugh.
Get ready.
Yeah, I had some practice runs before I could try to use the sleeping pad. Stage 9, Ravi. If I keep shooting, I can't see.
Get ready.
Ugh. Shit.
Get ready. Get ready.
There we go. Almost one hit.
You're doing great.
Stage 10, Mania. There are 2 bonus stages in the game.
Get ready.
It's a lot better with rapid fire to avoid rapid fire range. Instead of actually have to trigger buttons.
Get ready.
Can shoot down the mushrooms or toadstools. Yep, some grabbed objects can't be destroyed.
Get ready.
Come on.
Get ready. You're doing great.
Stage 11, Palms.
Get ready. Get ready.
Ah, damn you.
Get ready.
Damn.
Get ready.
There we go.
You're doing great.
Burst stage. Second burst stage.
You're doing great.
Stage 13 drill.
Get ready.
Sometimes I gotta see first to see obstacles. Ugh.
Get ready.
Ouch! Oh yeah, sometimes
Get ready.
Harry gets tripped by those ground rock, flat rocks.
You're doing great.
Stage 14, a suit. Ceasefire. Whoa! It's flashing because it's about to get darker. About to get very dark.
Get ready.
Ugh! Got me.
Get ready.
Don't get cocky. There we go.
You're doing great.
Stage 15 Visale. I'm not sure it's the D-pad or the left-right twist at the flight stick. That's what causes drift. Not sure.
Get ready.
Because on my PlayStation 4 and Xbox One PC Thrustmaster flight sticks, I almost don't have any of those kinds of issues. But if it happens to, you gotta clean them. Or try to replace the parts, but I'm not sure. There we go. Stage 16 Natura. Don't get caught. See? Because if you're trying to focus while shooting, you're gonna get hit, so don't get cocky.
Get ready. Get ready.
Remember, shoot the enemies coming down from that ship. Do not shoot the mothership. Just ignore it.
Get ready. You're doing great.
Stage 17 Narc.
ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
That's called Konami. Things of God and destruction. Jesus. There you go. This is similar to God and I. Trying to fight against these bosses again. Those are the name of these enemies bosses. Barbarian. Squarilla. There we go. Ida. Salpidon. There we go. Surya. Valda. I haven't tested the Air 2 flight stick controls that I also bought. Because I tested when I drift issues so I can research more. So I can fix them so you can save money. Congratulations, you win. That's his pal Uriah. Deanne. In second place. Come on. There we go. There we have that Space Harrier.
Welcome to the fantasy zone.
Stage
Get
2
ready.
is all right. Okay. X. I'll set to here. I'll choose stage select. Okay, stage select. Show you the stages here. Alright, remember stage 1 is Moot. Stage 2, Giza. Sorry. Stage 3, Amar. Stage 4, Cecile. Stage 5, which is the birth stage. Stage 6, Odysseus. Stage 7, Lucasia. Stage 8, Ida. Stage 9, Ravi. Stage 10, Minia. Stage 11, Darm. Stage 12 is the bonus stage. Remember, stage 5 and 12 are the bonus stages. Stage 13, Drail. Stage 14, Asut. Stage 15, Visels. Stage 16, Natura. Stage 17, Narc. And stage 18, Assemble. Okay. Okay. Try the Kamai new barrier attack. Yep, Not barrier attack. I'm not sure if there's a dip switch thing. I guess they do, but I'm not sure.
Welcome to the fantasy zone.
Okay,
Get ready.
It can protect obstacles, but not enemy fire. So it can go through it most of the time. If your bear gets damaged, then you can get hit by the obstacles. Right, don't rely on the bear too much. It's gonna recharge barrier in a few moments. There we go.
You're doing great.
You're doing great. Be careful not to lose your barrier. Yeah, it can go through those pillars. Well, most of the time. But if your bear's gone, try to avoid them. Yeah, but in crime mode, barrier mode, your score won't be able to keep on going, just like in the original arcade mode has. So every time I keep going, especially why it says the end, my score keeps on going until right the very end to stop the game. Kamaru will now recover but from stun a bit faster.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
There we go. The ground is breaking apart from my butt. Let's beat through this. Yeah, you can destroy those polygon balls. Don't get cocky. Still, I can't see now.
You're doing great.
I'll let you take care of this. Current removed.
You're doing great.
Jet struck during the distance. Why in the world is that?
Get ready. You're doing great.
When you get caught early, it's a freeze. Not in time with the
Get
barrier.
ready.
Being a good finish.
Get ready. Get ready. You're doing great.
Yay, now we can now even faster.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Ah!
Get ready.
There he's
You're
dead.
doing great.
Watch out, Pips and below. Oops, I meant below. Sorry.
Get ready.
That was fast.
You're doing great.
That's a joke match. Do you know the climber loves mushrooms?
Get ready. You're doing great.
Focus on the virus while Hori takes care of the debris.
Get ready.
There you go,
You're
double
doing
down.
great.
So here I said hi and that we would say if you didn't leave us. Huh.
You're doing great.
Yeehaw! Come on, we now recover from stun. From stun away. Ugh.
Get ready.
Shit.
Get ready. Get ready. You're doing great.
Speaking of trust and fear, don't take climbers.
You're doing great.
That was close. Hey partner, don't get stunned.
Get ready.
So many mechs. Machines obeyed by commanders loyal? Ugh.
Get ready.
Ugh.
Get ready. You're doing great.
There's something else here, Harry. We may not be able to remember it this time.
Get ready. Get ready.
Come on.
Get ready.
Harry, this is it. Give it all you got and good luck.
Get ready. Get ready.
Double down. Bow down.
Get ready.
Komainu. Here comes Hi-Oh. Right there. Okay, your high score up to 5.53 million points.
Get ready.
This bastard though. One down, one to go. There we go. Congratulations, you win Uriah. Score up to 54,425,369 points. Alright. Woo! Komara has gone for a past the horizon. It's time for us to go to Uriah. Alright. There we go. Your score was recording the rankings. Yeah, whatever. I don't care about that. There you have that Space Harrier. Okay, they don't show the gameplay demo, but here, let me try to start menu. Okay. Here, go back to original mode. Okay. Gotta shoot something here.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get
That's
ready.
right. In quiet mode, barrier mode, don't show the gameplay demo. Okay, shoot the flyers here. Yep, I scored over 54 million points on Komaru Barrier mode.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay, shoot this flyer here. This is what the back flyer looks like. Here, I'm gonna zoom this in. If I show it in desktop mode, I won't be able to zoom in properly. Okay. Right here, that's the rolling type and upright type and the sit down type. Showing the specs here, specifications. That's the rolling type. The upright type, which I found the upright type version of the arcade game at Texas Festival, which I still have. I took a picture of it. And I finally beat the arcade cab. I finally beat the upright type version. That's the sit down type. The one with the legs attached onto the arcade cab. Right before some racing arcade cabs had that, but not all.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yep, Sega creates a high-tech life. Sega, these are Sega Enterprise Limited addresses, phone numbers, fax, whatever. Hit design specification, subject to change without notice. SG86200E. Distributed by whatever.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Gotta put this back. There we go. Show you another flyer. Oops, not that. My bad. Here we go. Now we're off to the fantasy zone. Yep, that's a European arcade flyer. Or the International World Flyer. Alright, trying to zoom this in 6C. Alright.
Welcome to the fantasy zone.
Our
Get
hero,
ready.
a seasoned veteran of Maze Space Force, is on the scene again. This time to save the Dragonland, which is occupied by barbaric and evil creatures and controlled by supernatural phenomena. Yeah. Sega proudly presents another in a long line of original game concepts in Space Harrier, an action-packed adventure that pits you in the Mortal Kombat with aliens of another planet. We're not talking about the fighting game Mortal Kombat.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
All right, this is the flyer for the computer versions. Yep, Spectrum, Commodore, Amstrad Disk. Yeah, it's in Portuguese though. Oh no, it's Spanish.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
That's in Spanish. Impressionante. Yeah, it's showing the actual arcade cap on the front cover. It has the Elite logo on there. It's a first server division. Yeah, that's the address in Madrid, Spain. Telephone number. Okay.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
I'm going to show what the actual arcade caps look like. Here, that's the upright cabinet version with the flight stick attached on in the middle or at the center. That's the version, the wide motion. Yeah, I guess that's the deluxe arcade cab that goes in motion like this every time I move the flight stick in motion with hydraulics. Here's another one. And another one. And another one. Yeah, that's the upward cabinet version.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Here we go. Here's the here's the specs of what the arcade unit looks like with the flight stick. It has two shot buttons, either on the left or on the right. Either one, while you control the flight stick. If you're right-handed with the flight stick, you hit the shot button on the left hand. But if you use the left stick, if you play the flight stick with your left hand, then you hit the shot button on the right.
To the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, the flight stick's still removed, but this is what it looks. But that's what the flight stick controller looks like for the arcade unit of Space Harrier. Okay, close these. Gonna show you the game covers. Took me a while to cover everything. I'm so sorry, inconvenience, because it took me a while to set everything up.
Get ready.
Alright, this is what the Sega Master System version looks like, which I've yet to get. The 2 mega cartridge, twice the mega power. Alright, that's the Go cartridge version of the Sega Master System version, but also known as the Sega Mark III, and in Japan, it's still the same console now.
Welcome to the fantasy
Alright,
zone.
this
Get
one
ready.
back here. Let me read this. Alright. Alright. Oh, that's actually from Space Harrier 3D. Didn't mean to. Yeah, Space Harrier 3, the intergalactic war Space Harrier returns in an all-new 3D adventure. The peaceful land of the dragons is again under attack. Evil creatures fill the land and sky. Uria, the magnificent white dragon, is being held prisoner in a diabolical trap. Only you, the Space Harrier, can set him free. But this time the challenge is greater than ever before. Put on your Sega Scope 3D glasses. The screen will come alive with new 3D graphics, enemies, and wild new battle scenes. Only
Welcome
you
to the
stand
fantasy
between the
zone.
peaceful
Get
dragons'
ready.
feet. Get ready for the battle of a lifetime. Alright, this is the European version. Yeah, my apologies. I wasn't perfect.
Welcome to the
let me
family.
try to switch that
Get
out.
ready.
My apologies. Right. Alright. Shoot everything. Alright. Far away, there was a special land where peaceful dragons live peaceful lives. Until they attack vicious creatures seeking fire extinction for the dragons. You are their last hope. You are Space Harrier. And there was a different language. That's German. That's France. That's
Welcome to the
Spanish
fantasy
and
zone. Get ready.
Portuguese. Whatever, yeah. Now there are no limits. Sega Enterprises, 1976. Sega, copyright 1976. Sega, made in Japan. Okay. Alright, that's the Japanese version. Also known as Sega Mark III, SC3000, SG1000. Copyright Sega 1986.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Right here. This is what the Sega Mark III console looks like. The Japanese console of the Sega Master System. Alright. Here, let me try to change something here. Okay. Better.
Welcome
Alright.
to the fantasy
Let me
zone.
read
Get ready.
this. Alright. Oops. Let me try to close these. My apologies. Alright. Oop. Sorry. Crap. Looks like I'm not perfect here. Alright. Space Harrier. You are Harrier, the resourceful extraterrestrial warrior, and space is your battlefield. Your mission is to save the land of the dragons from vicious creatures led by the vile and
Welcome to
crafty
the
one-eyed
family.
mammoth.
Get ready.
Aided by your only friends, the dragons, you find yourself attacked again and again. You fight off one heavily armed alien after another. You must use every trick in the book, every skill at your command. The clashes are thrilling and demanding. The combat scenes are powerful. Can you survive the intense fighting? For your sake, for the sake of the land of the dragons, you must. Now there are no limits. Sega
Welcome to
America
the fantasy
Incorporated,
zone. Get ready.
573. That's the address of Sega in San Francisco, California. 573 Forest Boulevard, South San Francisco, California, 94080. And the phone number is 415-742-9300. Yeah, made in Japan. Copyright 1986. Sega America Incorporated. 6. CIX Group Company. CSK Group Company. My apologies. A CSK Group Company.
Welcome to the fantasy
Okay.
zone. Get ready.
Alright, that's the spine. And another one, oh yeah, the bottom 70, 80, that was actually the European PAL version. The North American version does not have it. Just show you the title, just show you the title on the spine, but not the number on the bottom. Only the European PAL version had that. Alright, that's the Commodore 64 version, officially licensed version of Sega Coin-Op. The one says Encore is £2.99 pound, £2.99 3 pounds. We're not talking about our weight. We're talking about the we're talking about the we're talking about the UK, the currency in the UK. We're talking about British pounds, British sterling pounds. That's the Commodore. Here's another one for the Commodore. Commodore CRC461 MCM software. That's the right here. This is the North American version right here. The other one's the here. Let me see. All right. Commodore. Yeah. Oh yeah, in the middle, that's the Spanish version and in Spain. Yeah, on the right, that's the European version, and the left one's North American version, and here's the other cover of the European version right here. Oh yeah, that's the cassette version. That's the Commodore cassette version. Here, that's the Europe, English UK version. That's the Spanish version. Right here, North American version. Commodore 64K version. Those are the spines.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Alright, here's the Spectrum version. Yeah, ZX Spectrum version. Hold on. Trying to make sure here.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, there he is. Sinclair ZX Spectrum version. That's a spine. That's a cassette version. Right here. Here's the M-Strat version.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, the M-Strat CPC version. M-Strat 464664 6128. Officially licensed version of Sega Coin-Op. That's the disc version instead of the cassette.
Zone. Get ready.
Amstrad Schneider CPC cassette. Right here, that's the disc version. That's the Spanish version. Here's the back. Alright, game features Game of the Year highly commended C and VG Joystick Award. Written by the same team who wrote Commando and Ghosts and Goblins, Keith Burkill and Chris Butler. That's the Commodore 64 version, the Spectrum version, and the Amstrad version. Officially licensed first at the Sega Coin-Op as seen in the arcades and on the Sega Master System. Elite Systems, Limited, Anchor House, Anchor Road, Outridge, Walsall, West Midlands, WS98, PW England, Telex, 336-130, Elite G, Consumer Hotline 0922-743-408. Yeah, they no longer existed though.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay. Yep. Full instructions are printed on the enclosed leaflet. Sega, this game is being manufactured and licensed for Sega Enterprises Limited, Japan, and Space Harrier are trademarks of Sega Enterprises Limited, Sega 1985. That's the, yep. Yeah, it has a hole punch right there in the middle. Okay. Here's the spine. Desk. Alright, here's the Famitsu FM7. No, not that. Sorry, wrong one. This is the NEC PC801 version, PC801 Mark II. Here's the FM77 version, Fujitsu FM7 or FM Towns. Here's the X68000 Sharp X68000 version. Yep, here's this right there front. Here's the back, showing the list of enemies and the main character, Space Harrier. Everything's in Japanese. These are the enemies, bosses' names, whatever. Yeah, these polygon and balls, gotta be careful not to get hit by those. Here's the spine. This is the Sharp X1 version, Sharp X1 version, or X1 Turbo.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
That's the TurboGrafx 16 version. I've yet to get the TurboGrafx 16 so I could get the game, but right now the prices have gone up a little high though, especially the used ones. Yeah, kind of like a CD drive case. Those are actually HU cards, not CD disc. Right there, that's the pink label version, 60 bits graphics arcade game. Yes, that's TurboGrafx 16 CL logo on there. NEC. See, that's the PC Engine version. This is the Japanese version. Yep, this is a reconstruct or reissue, maybe. Yeah, that's the front.
Welcome to the fantasy zone.
That's the Japanese version. Yep, here's the back. Here the back. Here's the back. All right. The arcade hit Space Harrier comes home on TurboGrafx 16. Evil forces have invaded Dragonland. You, as the fighting Space Harrier, must battle and drive out the hostile hordes. Arm only with an auto-lock energy launcher and your wits. Devastate the enemy and save Dragonland. This arcade classic proves 18 different levels of challenge and shooting thrills. Are your skills up to it? Number of players 1, levels 18, ages 8 years to adult. TurboGrafx 16 logo in the middle, barcode on the bottom right. Turbo chip game cards operate only on TurboGrafx 16 Airtel Super System. TurboGrafx Turbo Chip are trademarks of NEC Technologies Incorporated. Space Harrier is a trademark Sega American Incorporated, printed in the USA. Turbo Chip game card manufactured in Japan. 9-day limited warranty. Details inside. TGX 040025. Game copyright 1986, 1989 NEC Avenue. Copyright 1990 NEC Technologies Corporate 1255 Michael Drive, Wooddale, Illinois 60191. No longer exist. Here's the back. Here's the back cover of the jewel case in the Japanese version. 6,700. Maybe.
Welcome to the
I don't know
fantasy
if that's
Get ready.
yen currency or not. I'm not sure. Here's the spine of the Japanese version. That's the Atari version. Yep, that's the Atari version of the computer game. Atari ST has a disc on it on front. Here's the back.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Our hero, a seasoned veteran of many space wars, is on the scene again. This time to save the Dragonland, which is occupied by barbaric and evil creatures and controlled by supernatural phenomenon. An action-packed adventure that pits you in Mortal Kombat with aliens of another planet. Copyright Sega 1985. This game has been manufactured at lots of Sega Enterprises Limited, Japan, Space Harrier, and Sega trademarks of Sega Enterprises Limited, Elite Systems Limited, 1986. Full instructions are printed on the enclosed leaflet. These in fonts and German screenshots taken from Atari ST and Amiga versions right there. Elite Systems Limited, Eastern Avenue, Lakeville Stops, WS 113, GRX, Telex 36130, Elite G no longer existed. Right there. Here's the Amiga version. Same thing.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Oh yeah, that's the MS-DOS version. Alright, the one sticker. Oh yeah, IBM Tandy. IBM Tandy 3.1.
Get ready.
Trying to see. Yep. 3.1 or 2-inch PC and compatibles. S12K required. CGM. CGA. VGA Tandy joystick recommended. Okay.
Welcome to
the most fantastic space battle ever. Get ready. This is what the MS-DOS version looks like right here. Part human, part rock are all evil. These guys are tough enough to beat. Look out. Look at this thing, so dangerous it splits in 3. It'll take over a dozen blasts to stay slithering serpents like these. Sure, these guys look small, but they attack you in a big way. Incredible creatures, sensational scenery, super intense action. It's all part of the home computer version of one of the most popular games ever to hit the arcades. Blast invading aliens off the face of an endangered planet and zoom through stage after stage of treacherous terrain until pieces are restored to the land of dragons. You better hold tight to a laser blaster because this game is 100% action and there's no turning back. There's a Sega logo on there, copyright 1980, 1989, Sega Enterprises Limited. This game has been manufactured in lots of Sega Enterprise. 1986, yeah. Sega pricing limited Japan, Space Harrier. It's a trademark Sega Enterprises Limited, Commodore 64, Commodore 120, registered trademarks, Commodore Electronics Limited, Latour's registered trademark, NST, yeah, whatever, man, it's trademarks, IBM is registered trademark, IBM Corporation, made in USA. Screenshots represent Atari ST version, others may vary. Okay. Alright, this is the NES version, or Famicom in Japan. Released on January 6, 1989.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
There's the front cover and the back cover in Japanese. Try to zoom this in so you can see better. Can read everything's in Japanese. Whatever. Push start key. Yeah. Yep, this is what it looks like. Cover Takaro 1989. 1988 or 89.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay. Here's the Sega Game Gear version, which I've yet to get. Yep, I've yet to fix my Sega Game Gear onto the power supply because of those oozy capacitors, and I have to get them out and put new ones in. I had to dissolder all those oozing parts and then put new ones in, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Yeah, it only turns on for about a second and then later it goes off because of those oozing capacitors, which I've yet to fix.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
This is the Japanese version. That's the Korean version. That's the European version. That's the Brazilian version. Yeah, everything's in Portuguese,
Welcome to
which
the
I
fantasy
can't
zone. Get ready.
read. Yeah, Portuguese different from Spanish. Although similar, but you know, Portugal and Spanish have their own language, original language. That's the back of the Japanese version. That's the Korean version.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yep. Licensed by Sega Enterprises Limited Japan, Sega. Alright, this is the European. This is the European version. Travel at mind-boggling speeds through Dragonland, annihilate anything and everything that gets in your way. The other ones are in German, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, whatever. One player only shooting game. Copyright 1991. Sega made in Japan.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay, here's the North American version of the. Here's the back cover of the North American version. Deep Space, the last blast. Deep Space, the last blast. From Deep Space, a friend. Excuse me. From deep space, a frantic distress call blares in all directions. The land of the dragons is swarming with vicious attackers. You, the space harrier, pick up the distant SOS. You dive into the time warp via your intergalactic teleport, and you're there in seconds. Now, it's only you and your laser blaster against every futuristic monster, wizard, and robot you can imagine. They're everywhere, so you've got to move fast. So keep your eyes open, shoot first, and don't let them corner you. One mistake, Star Ace. One mistake, Star Ace, and you're space dust. Power up your laser blaster for rapid fire non-stop action. Blast through rings of fire, blazing dragons, dreaded orbs. Those are what they're called. Those are dreaded orbs. You know, those polygon balls, mutant space heads, and more. Sega one-player Game Gear color portable video game system. Game Gear is a trademark of Sega Enterprises Limited. Space Harrier is a trademark of Sega American Incorporated. Copyright 1991, Sega PO Box 5188. Redwood City, California, 94063. All rights reserved. Made in Japan, 2314-671-1652.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay, that's the spine, the North American version, the European version. It's the Sega 32X version, which I've yet to get. That's the European version. And here's the Japanese version. Here, the North American version. We used to be KA, Kids to Adults Ages 6 and up, but later changed to Rated E for everyone. That's the European version. That's the Japanese version. Okay. Deep Space, the last blast. You pick up a frantic distress call from deep space. You teleport to the land of the dragons, which is swarming with incredible monsters. You must laser blast your way bit by giant snakes and robotic monsters. Blast through rings of fire, blazing dragons, dread orbs, and mutant space heads. There are 24 mechs, kids to those more animated violence. Sega
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, it has please recycle, has the recycle logo on there. Yeah, warning. Operates only with NTIC televisions. Genesis and Sega C sisters purchased North and South America, except in Argentina. Paraguay, and Uruguay will not operate with your television, Genesis, or Sega CD system. Sega's Genesis and Space Harrier trademarks of Sega. Copyright 1994, PO Box 8097, Redwood City, California 94063. All rights reserved, made in Japan. Here, the patents, US. Yeah, US NOS 4. Yeah, whatever. Europe, Canada, Hong Kong, Germany, Singapore, UK, France, Japan. Yeah, pending. Patent pending. Okay, here's the back of the European PAL version. Laser blast and dodge your way through a frantic fantasy land swarming with unbelievable monsters and mutoids constantly coming at you. Accelerate through this arcade classic and answer the distress call or pay the ultimate penalty. The other ones are in German, France, Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch, whatever. One player. Here's the back of the Japanese version. Everything's Japanese. Yeah, it does work on the Sega Genesis models 1 and 2, and so is the Sega CD models 1 and 2. Same thing. That's not the Model 3, which is a smaller one that Sega wasn't involved. Copyright Sega 1985, 1994. For sale and use in Asia, made in Japan. 671-5829. The barcode right there. That's the address, time, customer service, what? Okay, there's the spine of the North American version, the European version, and the Japanese version. Right, here's the Sega Saturn version.
Get ready.
Although the standalone version for the Sega Saturn is only released in Japan only, but it can be found on the Sega Ages for the Sega Saturn, which I've yet to get, and I couldn't find it though, and it gets a little kind of expensive, almost like hundreds of dollars. Yeah. Cover, that's the back, everything's Japanese. That's a 6-7 3D controller. The Japanese version uses the white controller with multicolored buttons, while the North American version uses the black controller with gray and black buttons. Copyright Sega 1985, 1996. That's the spine at the Sega Saturn version. Alright, that's the Atari ST version, which I really forgot to put. Right there. All right. For the first time,
Welcome
all
to the
20
fantasy
levels,
zone.
100%
Get ready.
coin-op authentic. Space Harrier ST. Double-sided disk drive required. 1 meg drive required. Compatible with 520 STE and 1040 only. 1040 only. Sega trademark. Atari ST Elite.
Welcome
Alright,
to the
here's the
fantasy
back
zone.
of the
Get
Atari
ready.
ST version. Our hero, a seasoned veteran of many space wars, is on the scene again. This time to save the Dragonland, which is occupied by barbaric and evil creatures and controlled by a supernatural phenomenon. For the first time ever, Elite Sega proudly present all 20 levels in one complete package. Screenshots taken from Commodore Amiga or
Welcome
Atari
to the
ST.
fantasy
Elite
zone.
Systems
Get
Limited.
ready.
Aldridge, Walsall, West Midlands, WS9, 8PW England. Telex 61330 Elite G Consumer Hotline 0922743408 no longer existed. All rights reserved worldwide. Unauthorized copying, leading broadcaster resale without the express written permission. Elite systems limited strictly prohibited. Warranty. This software product has been
Welcome
carefully
to the
developed
fantasy
and
zone.
manufactured
Get ready.
to the highest quality standards. Please read carefully the instructions for loading, which are included. If for any reason you have difficulty running the program and believe that the disk is defective, please return it directly to the following address. For I just told you the exact address. Copyright 1985, 1989 Sega Enterprises Limited. Copyright 1990 Elite Systems Limited. Okay. Here's the PS2 version
Welcome to
of
the
the
fantasy zone. Get ready.
Polygon remake from part Sega Ages 2500, Volume 4. I do have it on Sega Classics Collection. Get ready. Zoom this in so you can see better. Okay, this is kind of one of the weird ones. Since the Typing of the Dead, right now Typing Space Harrier, that was released on February 28,
Welcome to the
2002.
fantasy zone. Get
Typing
ready.
Space Harrier is a PC game exclusively released exclusively in Japan, which aims to teach people how to type using a keyboard. It follows in the footsteps of the Typing of the Dead for the Dreamcast and PC by attaching itself to an already established Sega franchise, in this case Space Harrier. Like the Typing of the Dead, it relies on the player hitting the keyboard keys at specific moments as quickly as
Welcome
possible.
to the fantasy
Yeah,
zone.
that's kind of where
Get
I've
ready.
yet to get the Typing of the Dead for the Dreamcast. Oh yeah, they do have the Typing of the Dead Overkill for the PC, which is currently on Steam. If you want to get the game. Right here, here's the back cover. Look at this. Get ready now. Download Typing Space Harrier, the website, Sega GP/PC. I'm not sure if it's still there.
Welcome to the
I don't
fantasy
think it no
zone.
longer
Get
exists
ready.
there. Right there. Look at that. That's kind of interesting. Just type it in before you get hit, and you can shoot down the enemy. That's the spine at the PC game. There you go. Space Harrier 3D Polygon Remake can be found on Sega Classics Collection for the PS2. That's the Australian version.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
That's the France version. Yeah, that's the French version. That's the German version. the UK version. The one had that Peggy and ratings on there in Europe. That's the Spanish version. That's the spine, the North American version. That's the back.
Welcome to the fantasy
The Ultimate Sega
zone.
Collection
Get ready.
Remaster related to these classic Sega games that changed the world of video game. Now with enhanced graphics sound, you will experience these games like never before. It's rated 15 because of Alien signature that had animated blood and intense violence. That's Outrun, Space Harrier, Virtual Racing, Marco, GP, Taunt R, Golden X, Cons, Fantasy Zone, Bonanza Bros, and Alien
Welcome
Syndrome.
to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Alright, that's the French version. No, wait, that's the UK version, my bad. Gaming that define a generation returns. A compendium of unforgettable gaming history that lets you experience the thrill and excitement of the Sega titles that changed the world of Sega video games. Previously only available on Sega Mega Drive, Arcade, or Sega Master System, now you can enjoy these classics with enhanced graphics and sound for a superior gameplay experience. Get ready to relive some of the best moments in gaming history again and again. Yeah, Peggy 12 Plus has the fist, means violence. That's the UK that's the Sega's UK website. Site team logo, DVD ROM. Okay.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
That's the German version. No, wait. Oh yeah, that's the Spanish version, my bad. That's the German version. And that's the French version. Alright. That's all. Alright. I'm gonna show you what the cassettes are. Because they used to have cassettes and play games on the computers. That's Commodore 64128 version. Cover Elite System to 1986. Signature prices up to 1985. Elite on the bottom right hand corner. It's another one. That's MCM software. That's the Spanish version.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Here's another one. That's the Spectrum version, Amstrad version, Amstrad Schneider, Amstrad version. Yep, that's the white tape. That's the black tape, white tape.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay, go show what the cartridges looks like. That's the Sega Master System version. That's the North American version. That's the Japanese version. That's the TurboGrafx 16 version. That's the PC Engine version, which is in Japan. That's the NES Famicom version. That's the Japanese version of the Game Gear version. That's the Brazilian version. That's the North American version. And that's the Korean version of the Game Gear game. That's the 32X version, the North American version. That's the European version and the Japanese version. Close these. Go shoot the diskettes. I used to have those old computers back in the day when I was a little kid. Used those diskettes. Here, I'll show it to you. Yeah, this is what it looks like right here. Oh no, I don't have them anymore like I used to, though.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, 3M worldwide sponsored Olympic Games. It really depends what sponsors that the Olympics are using. Okay, this is what diskette looks like. Who knows? I really don't have the diskettes with me like I used to, but yeah. Okay, going back.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay. Right there. This is what the Commodore 64128 version looks like. The disc on a diskette format. Oh yeah, in one of the episodes of Dexter's Laboratory, entitled Golden Diskette, the diskettes were using gold because I don't know, they make colored diskettes. It was traditionally in black. I've never seen this kind of diskette before, which is in vertical. You know, they downsize. Instead of the square ones, they make rectangle shaped diskettes. That's the Amstrad Schneider version. Oh yeah, that's the Sharp X68000 version in diskette format. Here the floppy disk. Right here for the Atari ST, Amiga, and Atari.
Get ready.
I guess that's the MS-DOS version. Yeah, it's the MS-DOS version. Yeah. And here the game disc. This is what the Sega Saturn version looks like. Oh yeah, this is the PS2 version at Sega Ages 2500 3D Polygon remake. That's the typing Space Harrier for the PC. That's Sega's Classics Collection, which I still have.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Oops, wrong game. Okay. That is all. There you have that Space Harrier. For Sega Ages, for Nintendo Switch, remember, it's very better if you get the flight stick right here. And, oh yeah, I'm about to zoom in. Sorry, my apologies.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, it's better to play with the flight stick, which is the Thrustmaster here. Yep. See that? That's the A trigger, X button on top right here. That's the D-pad, the B button, the X, Y button right there, and right here on the bottom, that's the L button on top, and the R button on the bottom here, and that's the throttle slider.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, when I tried the Skycross Insert AC for Nintendo Wii, the throttle control does work by using the slider. I don't know if it'll work on some of the Switch games, because I tried doing that on G-Lock, but it didn't work. Only I do this though, and so is Metal Hawk for Nintendo Switch. And those are the C-stick buttons. That's that's up and down C-stick, and the left and right C-stick right here on the that left-hand corner right there. It says Thrustmaster, and that's the joystick resistance on the bottom right here. That's a C button, the start button, the rumble, and the program button right there. If you set to rumble, that means you'll be able to set different rumble settings right here. It starts to blink up like that. Yeah, if you want to get this, get the Thrustmaster, GameCube Thrustmaster flight stick to play some of those past flight games, including Night Striker and its upcoming sequel, Night Striker Gear. And I hope they can have reverse inverse controls for Operation Wolf, Operation Thunderbolt, and Space Gun. I wish they could put Operation Wolf 3 in its work game for install Operation Tiger. They should add that though, but I hope they're gonna re-release those in the future. That's really up to Taito to decide.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, the GameCube Flights can be used on the GameCube game Top Gun Combat Zones, which is highly recommended though. Oh yeah, the rumble button. Hold on.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Yeah, it's recommended for Top Gun Combat Zones and Superman and Star Wars Rogue Leader for the GameCube. Alright, changing the rumble setting. The rumble button sets the degree of vibration for the motor. By default, rumble is 100% if the lights are blinking and the LED is turned off. To change the default setting, press the rumble button twice. The LED flickers red for up to 50%. Press the rumble button twice. The LED turns red, solid red, which is off. And pressing the rumble button once more, the LED turns off. Rumble 100%. You know, it has a built-in force feedback or shaker motor. You know, that was used in those PlayStation DualShock airlock controllers. Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
This again. Sorry. Right here. This is what it looks like right here. Sorry for the more damage right here. Yeah, at the bottom right here.
Welcome to the fantasy.
Yeah, I've yet to test out the two flight stick controllers, see if they cause any drift issues, so I could try to research more how to fix these things. Yep, right here again. You can also play on the Nintendo Wii version, but you gotta hit the you gotta use the C sticks. You gotta use the C stick or the C stick buttons in order to add more credits. So you can add up to 99 credits. So almost, and you could use that on Zaxxon. I have the Wii Virtual Console version at the Zaxxon arcade, and it's kind of fun to play with this though. If you're gonna play it like you're at the arcades. Yep, I hope to talk about more other games if I have time. So if you want to get Space Harrier for Nintendo Switch, get on the Nintendo eShop. Sega also had other classic games from Sega Ages, so go get them.
Get ready.
I wish they could make more, but they don't. That's all they got as of right now. And I'm telling you this again. Yeah, if you want to set to left or right controls, make sure you turn to counterclockwise so you'll be able to flick left and right. If you want to lock it in, just because sometimes I'm having difficult controlling while moving the character, you just if you want to lock it in place, turn the screw clockwise to lock it in place so it doesn't move much, so you'll be able to move it freely. Okay, there we go. Me?
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
That's it. That's Space Harrier for y'all.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Okay. Remember watch. Okay, hold on. Sorry. All right. Thanks for tuning my live stream, you guys. Please like and subscribe to Old School Gamer 87 and follow me in these social media links. And please don't hesitate to ask any questions I email, and I'll be happy to answer them out for you. All right. Remember, for our chance to release 20-30 seconds. Do be careful out there while going in public. Face masks are highly recommended if you don't want to get sick against COVID. And all you measles victims, get yourself vaccinated. It happens among children. I hope they get themselves vaccinated. Although the state of Texas started to decline down, the case started to decline, but we all gotta be careful though, and don't be a victim of those viruses, diseases, including COVID. So get yourself vaccinated. Do be careful out there while going in public. No matter where you're at, stay safe and alert out there. Okay. So please make a flight stick controller for Nintendo Switches 1 and 2 after the Nintendo Switch version of Ace Combat 7 came out. So please do so, right? Because I want with the throttle stick, so I'll be able to play G-Lock even on Ace Combat 7, and I hope they get controls because I can use that on Thunder Scepters 1 and 2 for Nintendo Switch. Yeah, Thunder Scepter 2 doesn't have in 3D though, but it's still a fun game though, which I've yet to get from Arcade Archives. Yeah, since they don't make the Yoke controllers for other consoles, they only do it on PC and Xbox controllers, especially Microsoft Flight Simulator games. Those are flight games. So please make a flight stick for the Nintendo Switches 1 and 2. So please do so. It also works for the not just for the GameCube. It also works for the Nintendo Wii and Wii U and Nintendo Switch, and hopefully they're gonna do it on Nintendo Switch too. So please make a flight stick, you guys. Thrustmaster, Hori, whatever companies that are trying to make flight sticks. So come on, please do it.
Get ready.
It'd be cool to use this. I hope y'all get my attention, including all of you companies. So please do so, right? This Old School Gamer 87 sign off. Take care. Peace. Do be careful out there, alright? Take care. Peace. Bye.